Hi, Uduak, and thank you so much for joining us today. So today we are speaking with Dr. Uduak Ekpenyong from Aurecon. She's an exceptional woman in the field of engineering, and she's currently working as the manager of asset management at Aurecon in Melbourne. She was also the chairperson of Women in Engineering of the IEEE of the South Africa section. Before we start, Uduak, please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hi, I'm Uduak. I am an electrical engineer, as you've heard. I am working at Aurecon. I did my undergraduate in Nigeria, but I moved to South Africa to do my master's and my PhD. And during my PhD, I joined Aurecon. I've been there for some years now. And now I am in Melbourne, still doing the same work I was doing in South Africa.
How did your journey in engineering start?
It started very early, actually. I've always been very curious about things, as any child is, asking why. But my curiosity was always around electricity. And growing up in Nigeria in the 80s and 90s, electricity hasn't been very steady. So I've always wanted to know, why don't we have steady source of electricity, and how can we get more of it? And not from a very I want to serve the world. I just wanted to watch more TV. And that has actually led me to this adventure and journey of engineering and studying electrical engineering throughout.
Okay, so that also answers our question of what inspired you as a high school girl to study engineering. So tell me a bit about your university in Nigeria. How was it to study in Nigeria and then the transition to Nigeria to come to South Africa?
Studying in Nigeria was nice. The fact was, we were very few girls in the class. We had a class, we graduated with a class of about 60 in electrical engineering, and we're only 9 girls. And yes, yes, I know, very few back then. But what was nice about it was the fact that I was very involved in school and I led the class. So I never felt that I was a girl in class. I was the girl in class. I was just a very good student who was also a good leader in school, and I enjoyed being in class. Moving from Nigeria to South Africa was very two different things I was doing. First of all, university was undergraduate in Nigeria, which meant we had classes and we had exams. But moving to South Africa, it was research that I was working on, which meant I had to be very self-disciplined to do my master's. I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn things like coding with certain softwares that I hadn't used in Nigeria. And those things really took a lot of my time. But through hard work, I finished my master's and I still got curious. So I continued with my PhD and I was done with that.
Oh, great. And after your PhD, you joined Aurecon. And how did your journey at Aurecon start? Did it start with your PhD studies? Did it relate to what Aurecon was doing?
Not really, actually. I actually did my PhD. I was rounding up my PhD when I started with Aurecon, and I've always been one for adventure. Not the physical one, unfortunately, but my adventure has always been about what is the new thing that I can learn. With my PhD and master's, it was really about learning about new ideas and trying trying out new concepts. But starting with Aurecon, I was going to actually learn about practicalities of those ideas, especially in the electricity field, where we actually did a lot of work with utility companies on helping them realize the value of their assets, understanding how they can get the rates of returns back, and actually being able to utilize those assets in a more efficient way. And the data they have on those assets, are they actually current, or do they need to update them or not? So it's things like that. Starting with Aurecon, I started by learning the basics, although I got in with a higher degree, but you have to actually understand what is going on within the industry. And once you learn that, you can continuously grow constantly. So I think it was two different things in a way, but the value I gained from university, especially when it came to being consistent and self-disciplined learning, was very valuable with starting out with Aurecon.
So you already told us a bit more about what you do with asset management at Aurecon. So at the start of Aurecon, how was it to transition from a PhD full-time student to a working at Aurecon there in Pretoria? How was the change for you?
Very difficult, I have to say. First of all, you actually have to wake up early for work, which was something that I did not do so much with PhD. And I was also teaching as a part-time lecturer at University of Pretoria, but all my classes were in the afternoon, and all my research work I could work from 12 p.m. up to 12 a.m. So there wasn't really much schedule, so to speak. And with industry, you had to be at work at least from 8 a.m. till at least 5 p.m. So being able to learn how to conform, so to speak, to that time was something that was difficult for me. However, I did find it easier when it came to people, because the team that I worked with were very, very helpful. And they also understood who I was, and that I transitioned from a different aspect, and being able to accommodate me for the first few weeks until I understood that I really have to be at work so early. But it was fun, actually.
Yeah. Your journey at Aurecon started in Pretoria. How did you end up in Melbourne?
Okay, so this Melbourne journey started last year, July, when I came back from lunch and I had my boss ask me, "Will you like to go to Melbourne?" And I just said yes. But it wasn't supposed to be a permanent move like I have. We had a project here that they needed a skilled, experienced electrical engineer to assess the assets of one of our clients who is actually in the mining of quarries, rock quarries and sands and all that. And they wanted someone who was experienced and who also understood how the regulations of the countries and the different skills that were needed, or what those assets are supposed to be in terms of safety and regulations too. So I said yes, and then I came over here last year and I inspected about 11 quarries all around Australia, which was very much fun. I got to see a lot of the country just driving around. And at that time, the team also was growing and they needed expertise. Yes, expertise of electrical engineering within their team. And I know it seems quite odd, but we Africans are actually very smart people. So I was invited to come over and join the team over here doing what I was already doing in South Africa. So that's why I'm here now.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure it has been a great adventure up until now. What, in your view, has been your biggest career success?
Um, so I know one would say my PhD, but it's not that actually. My biggest career success has been the work we did with a utility company in Nigeria, where we had to audit all the customers they had on their electrical networks. And it was about a total of 1.1 million people.
Oh,
Yes, not people, 1.1 million houses. And to
sure.
manage such a project or to be part of such a project and play a very key role in that was something I found very successful. And not only the fact that it was a successful project, it was also done in Nigeria, that is where I'm from. And I enjoyed the fact that my experience as a Nigerian, my experience from all the schools that I've attended, my experience from my academic background and industrial background, I was able to actually use in that project throughout the project that lasted about 3 years.
Sure. And so this project in Nigeria, you invested a bit of your time back into your own home country. Was it a nice experience for you to visit your country again and invest your skills that you developed and they helped develop you back into them?
Yeah, definitely it was. And I also think that working with a team back in Nigeria, they were also quite proud that they had people coming from South Africa, and one of the people that was coming in to do the work for them was also a Nigerian, which also gave them that confidence that I understood the problems that they had. I understood the situations they were facing, and I was able to empathize with them without just seeing it from an outside view, but I have also experienced those things before. So I think that was fun.
So you've been placed in various management positions. What would you say is the most challenging managing a team?
Uh, I'll have to say having to gain the trust of your teammates, because managing a team is not just giving out instructions, it's really leading that team, being able to have everyone work together as one team, having people confident enough to speak up when things are not going right, or having people actually respect the decisions that you have made or decisions that might be very tough for people. So that has been one tough challenge. I also think another challenge would be the diversity of teams sometimes can clash, which is a good thing, but how to manage that in a constructive way that you get the full potential of a diverse team. So it's difficult managing a team that doesn't trust you or you don't trust them, because a lot of things can be left unsaid and that can cause problems within a project.
I'm going to ask the question in reverse now. I'm sure you've been managed as a team member as well at Aurecon. How do you work as a team member? How do you see yourself in the group? Are you the plan maker or are you the silent worker? How do you see yourself in a team?
I would say I'm more of the instigator or the devil's advocate. So I am quite vocal within a team, and I am very conscious of doing that because I do know I notice within the teams that women are quite quiet within teams, even though we have amazing opinions and we have amazing solutions, but we become very quiet. So within a team, I'm quite vocal, and if I do have an idea, I speak up. I also encourage other people to speak up too. I believe in people working together as a team, so I try to see where someone needs help, and I'll always offer my assistance, or I'll ask for help if I need one.
What was the most rewarding part for you of managing a team? What project was for you the most rewarding?
Well, it's still the same project, but the most rewarding part for me, it's not just about the project, it's actually seeing people grow and replace you in a portfolio you have been working in. So that has always been my motto as a leader. You should be able to work yourself out of a job if you keep on doing the same thing you've been doing over and over again, and there's no one else that can do that same work if you leave, then you haven't actually been a leader. So that's always been my thing, watching people actually step in and take over and take responsibility and actually own that aspect of the project and seeing them grow into it and training other people. I think to me that's amazing. I always like that. I do miss my team in South Africa, but I also know that the people are capable of doing quite a lot, and they don't need me, but they might want me. So I think that's the thing, to still be wanted but not really needed. That's always been my joy.
Yo, wise words. So if you were a girl now in this part of the world and the life we're now in, and you're deciding on what to study, would you choose something different or would you choose engineering again?
Um, Perhaps let me answer that by giving you a background of when I finally settled with engineering. I started by wanting to be one, but I did have a lot of guidance before I finally made my choice. And I must say, I had a very good home support system. When I was in grade 9, my parents sat me down and said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I wasn't just asked one thing, I was told to find out 5 things I wanted to be when I grow up and give them reasons why I wanted to be those 5 professions. What was the advantage of them? What subjects did I need to take in school for them? And if those didn't work out, what was going to be the options? So that really is a lot for a teenager to think about. But I have to say it has been a very good thought process for me because, of course, engineering was top, but then I started looking at it. What would an electrical engineer do? In what fields can you practice in? I looked at also being a mathematician because I was really good at mathematics. But then where would I apply it and would I actually enjoy what I was doing? And it all kept falling back into electrical engineering. And if I think back again right now, asking myself those same questions with the subjects I'm good at, with what I enjoy doing, with what I want to be, and what really inspires me, I'll still stick to electrical engineering because those thoughts are still the same thing that keep reminding me every day what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm sure your parents had a very impactful, that conversation made a very great impact on your life. Um, how was your relationship with your parents in guiding you in your successes?
So yes, of course, they were very. I used to joke about it that they made you decide what you want to be. So if you failed, they'll say, "Well, this is all on you." But no, that's not it. They have always been very supportive. I think for my parents, the one thing that they'll always ask you anywhere you is, "Are you happy?" And if you are happy, then they are okay with it. So that's always been the thing. You have to do what makes you happy and you have to do what your conscience is clear. So with all my successes, I have never really received any no. There's never actually been anything about my gender for any of the successes or any of the journeys I've taken in terms of my career. I've never walked up to my dad or my mom and told them, "Oh, by the way, I'm continuing with my PhD." And they said, "No, as a girl, you need to stop." No, it's just, "Oh, okay, that's what you're going to do. What is it going to be about?" Oh, by the way, I am moving to Australia. Oh, okay. So when are you leaving? But I think having that support has always been helpful. And it might just be some might not have the support, but I know in secondary schools there are guardian counselors that can actually give you those subjects that you need to study when you are going through and thinking about what you want to study, especially for engineering and focusing on those subjects that you really need in university.
So you already gave some advice, but do you have any specific advice you want to give to the girls today? So they are between the ages of 16 and 18, and they are in that position you just talked about. They have to start making decisions on their career.
Yeah. So one thing that I have to say, and I also wish I had a lot of that when I was also growing up, because I've made some mistakes and sometimes it's been tough. It's good to have supportive parents, but as a teenager, there's so much you can listen to your parents sometimes. It is to have a mentor, someone you look up to, someone that you can bounce these ideas of what you want to study from an outside perspective to see if that is going to work and what you need to do. How are you how are you going? What subjects are you actually picking for what you say you want to study? So if you are focusing on history and you want to study engineering without actually doing mathematics, not mathematical literature, then you might struggle in university once you get into it. So I would say talk to a guidance counselor and find a mentor who actually has been through the journey. It doesn't have to be a mentor that is already working, might just be a university student who has gone through what you've gone through and can give you some advice. And a mentor doesn't have to talk to you every week. A mentor can talk to you just once a month or even twice a year, but someone that you can bounce those ideas off, and that would be a good support system.
Um, well, Uduak, you're a very impressive woman. I'm very proud to say that I know I saw you once at Tshwane, but and I'm sure you can't remember me. I was the new guy starting, but thank you so much that you joined us today and joined all your history, how you became who you are today, and the journey that you walked with, and your studies. And you're so impressive in the way that you don't see challenges, you just see adventure that you mentioned before. So
Yeah.
although you said you're not an outside adventurous person, I see you as very adventurous, because taking up the challenge of moving to South Africa, firstly from Nigeria, moving away from family and pursuing your studies, and then moving to further away to Melbourne for
Yeah.
after a lunch conversation. It's impressive that someone can make such decisions, such hard decisions easily. And I think that is one of your greatest qualities of having making that clear decisions, not thinking and pondering too much about the future. I have one final question for you. If you could have any superpower of all the superpowers that that exist, what would it be and why?
I actually thought about that a lot. What superpowers would I have? And I think the present situation we find ourselves would really be one who could heal people, be a healer, not just for myself, but also for other people. Being an engineer really requires a lot of hard work, and I do say adventures as challenges because I don't want to be stuck thinking that is going to be too hard. But if you see it as an adventure, you know you're going to move to somewhere else and you're going to actually progress. But within that time that you have some difficulties, to be able to have that healing power to just make all the stress go away, the headaches go away, reading too long. I do wear glasses. And also with the sad situation of COVID-19 that we face right now, if I could heal people and help them just get over this, then that would have been a good superpower. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great superpower to choose. And thank you very much for joining us today. Do you have any final remarks that you want to say to our girls listening today? You're welcome to make it, and then you're finished with your interview.
Okay, I do have something. I've always told a lot of ladies that I mentor, and I leave them with these three things. It's know who you are. Know who you are as a person. You're not just a daughter, you're not just a sister, you're not just a mother. Know who you are as a person, because that identity within you will carry you very far. And you wouldn't have to be swayed when people call you different names at the workplace. That doesn't define who you are as a person. Know what you want. When you're very definitive about what you want in life, when situations and opportunities come around, you can make those decisions quite quickly, like you said. So you have to know what you want. You don't follow the drum beats of other people, because if you don't know what you want, you'll just flow with whatever is you are faced, and you might at some point start feeling as a failure without, because you didn't define actually what you wanted and how you're going to grow. And finally, know why you want those things that you want in the context of who you are. Why do you want to do what you're doing? I love electricity. It's always been part of me. I'll always find a way to wrap whatever I'm doing around electricity, whether it was being what I was studying in energy efficiency and demand side management at university, or moving into the asset management team where we looked at electricity utility companies. I've always found myself around electricity, and it's always been something that I love. So it's really knowing that, know your why, know your passion. So I leave those three things to the ladies. Know who you are, know what you want, and know why you want what you want. Thank you.
Okay, very wise words. Thank you, Uduak. Thank you for the interview and thank you for joining us for Femmegineering. I'm sure you've been a great inspiration for all the girls listening today.
Thank you.